Welcome back, budgeteers. Coach Nino Villa here, disciple of Christ, husband, father, and financial coach. And today on the New Money Habits podcast, I want to talk to you about maintaining your money. Hey there, budgeteers. The new year is here, and you know what that means. It's time for fresh starts and new habits. If one of your goals is to get better with your money, New Money Habits has exactly what you need to kick things off right: the Payday Power Planner. This isn't just any budget tool. The Payday Power Planner is designed to work with your pay periods, not just the calendar month. Why does that matter? Because it helps you to see exactly when your money is coming in and going out. No surprises, no guesswork. With the Payday Power Planner, you'll know if you're working with a surplus or facing a deficit, so you can make informed decisions about your money. It's not just a plan, it's the clarity and control you've been looking for to start the new year strong. Make this the year you finally build new habits for financial freedom. Grab your free Payday Power Planner from New Money Habits today and take the first step toward a better financial future. Visit newmoneyhabits.com now, because this year it's time for a better plan for your money. So here we are midway through the year 2025. And when you think about your own personal financial goals that you set for yourself, you might be thinking, I'm not even close. Maybe you set some goals for yourself in January amidst the new year. Maybe you haven't even revisited them since. Maybe you've set some goals and you've made some progress, but not the type of progress you were hoping to make. But here's the thing. None of that really matters. What really matters is what we do today and beyond. And so, while half the year might be over, the good news is there's still time. There's still time. And all we got to do is go in and do a little bit of maintenance. I want you to know that life happens, right? And sometimes we get derailed. Sometimes we have the best of intentions and they don't necessarily pan out. Maybe we've set a budget and we've blown it. I just sat down with a new client for the second time earlier this week, and he was telling me about how it didn't go according to plan, because that happens, right? Things happen. Also, goals shift. Things change. So I don't want anyone to see their progress to date or lack thereof as any type of failure. This is not about failure. And in any way, failure is just a learning mechanism. We all fail. We all fail. We all fall short all the time. So what? Let's just learn from what has transpired, and let's use what we've learned to plan what we're going to do next. Okay. So if you set some goals earlier this year and you have yet to achieve them or make the progress that you had wished to make, I want you to just put that aside. Whatever shame, whatever guilt you are feeling from all of that, I want to encourage you in this moment, leave it behind. No shame, no guilt. Simply reevaluating, re-engaging. Okay? And so it doesn't even matter if you're listening to this when it first released. It doesn't matter if it's June, September, January. It doesn't matter. It's always a good time and the right time to check in on your money. We're just going to re-engage. Okay? Do not allow your emotions, I talk about that a lot nowadays, thanks to my partner, Maria. Don't let your emotions in this situation drive your behavior. There's a chain reaction that happens between your beliefs, what you're thinking, your thoughts, that trigger your emotions that drive your behavior. So if you right now are in your thoughts thinking, yeah, but I didn't do this and I didn't accomplish that, you need to stop thinking that way, because that's going to trigger the emotion or emotions of stress, shame, guilt. And I don't want your behaviors, which are driven by your emotions, to be driven by stress, shame, or guilt. So we're going to set those aside. We're going to recalibrate our brain. We're going to say, okay, things have transpired. I'm going to learn from what has transpired, and I'm going to use that information to help me plan for what's next. And so when we think about it that way, the emotion now becomes excitement, anticipation, like a little bit of like go-gettingness, like let's do this. Okay. So I want you to reframe your mind, and you're thinking about how whatever has transpired has transpired. I'm going to learn from whatever has taken place, and I'm going to move forward. And so there's a 3-step process for you to review, reevaluate, and reprioritize your financial goals so that you can finish strong. Hey there, budgeteers. You know, good news can only be good news if there's bad news. So, what's the bad news? The bad news is you and I have a deadly disease called sin, and this disease causes us to rebel and disobey God. See, God is holy, righteous, and just, and He cannot be in the presence of sin. So this horrible disease of ours separates us from the God who created us. And the bad news gets worse. There isn't anything you or I can do to make ourselves right with God. We are dead in our sins and on our way to an eternity separated from God. But that's not God's will for us. See, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. God did what only God could do. He made a way for us to be reconciled to Him through Jesus Christ. Jesus came into the world to save sinners like you and me. While we were still sinners, storing up God's anger against us for our rebellion and disobedience, Christ died for us. Jesus took the punishment that you and I deserve and have earned. Jesus is the substitute for your punishment and mine. Now, isn't that some good news? The word gospel means good news. The gospel of Jesus Christ is that you and I broke God's law, and Jesus paid the fine. When we place our faith and trust in Jesus, we get to experience God's grace and mercy. Our gratitude should turn us from our rebellious and disobedient sin toward God, seeking after Him and His righteousness. When we do, God gives us a new heart and a new mind. Praise God for His goodness, and remember, God loves, humans sin, Jesus saves. All right, so what is this 3-step process? Step number 1, you're going to review what is working and what's not. Again, what has transpired has transpired. We can't change it. We're just going to reflect on it. So what has been working for you so far in alignment with your financial goals? So let me give you a couple of examples. Imagine your financial goal at the beginning of the year was that you wanted to create a monthly budget every single month, and that you were going to use some type of app or spreadsheet. So now I want you to reflect on what about that process has worked for you and what hasn't. Have you been able to commit to doing it every month? When you do it, are you able to stick to it? If so, great. What's working? If not, why not? Imagine if your goal in January was that you wanted to either save up some money or eliminate debt. Ask yourself, have I made progress? Even if it's not fully the progress you wish you had made, Have you made progress? Were you consistent? If so, great. What allowed you to be consistent? Again, let's reflect on what's working. Is there a certain behavior? Did you make a change? Maybe at work, maybe you decided that in order to help you save, you were going to have the bulk of your paycheck deposited into your checking account, but maybe you having a small amount deposited into your savings account allowed you and helped you to do that. But identify, have you made progress? Have you been able to stay consistent? Also reflect on what curveballs has life thrown you. So maybe you had these goals to eliminate some debt and or save some money, and life threw you a curveball. Maybe there was an unexpected medical bill or something else happened that impeded your progress. As you reflect on these things, I want you to celebrate any wins. For instance, imagine that you had a goal to save $1,000 in the first 3 months of the year. And maybe you made progress towards that, but you didn't achieve it. But life threw you a curveball. Maybe there was an unexpected medical bill. And so on your way toward saving that $1,000, maybe you got stopped at $700 and you had to shift your focus to paying off this medical bill. And maybe you did that with cash rather than putting it on a credit card. These are all wins. You made progress towards the savings goal. Maybe you didn't achieve it, but you made progress toward it. Life threw you a curveball that you were able to handle in cash rather than put it on credit and get yourself in a deeper debt hole. These are wins. And so I want you to reflect on that. So number one is review. What is working? What's not? Maybe you wanted to establish a budget and you wanted to handle some categories in cash. And you found out that this is just not working for you. This has actually happened to a client of mine. As much as she wants to manage certain categories within her budget via cash, it's just not working. So we did step number 2 and we reevaluated. Okay, that's not working for you. So how can we reevaluate and do something different that is going to work for you? And for this particular client, we were able to find a bank that is going to allow her to have a very cool setup where she can have different spending categories. And as she spends, it will automatically deduct from that category. So let's say she wants to go out and grab a coffee from somewhere. Well, this account is going to be able to recognize the type of establishment she is buying from, or she can assign it and say, if it's this coffee place or this coffee place or this coffee place, I want it to come out of this category. And so it's going to allow her to manage these categories digitally in a very similar way that she would be able to manage them in cash. And so the cash system's not working out for her. No big deal. It was a goal. We tried to work it. We didn't get it to work. We reevaluate. So that's one way that you can reevaluate how you're going about doing something. Sometimes we have to reevaluate the goal itself. Life does throw us these curveballs. Things change. We are all feeling the effects of an economy in which there's been hyperinflation, right? And so the cost of goods and services has gone up, which means there's less money in our budgets to do the other things that we may have set as goals. Maybe you had a savings goal of $5,000. That was going to be your starter peace of mind fund. And maybe you gave yourself 6 months to do that. But with the cost of goods and services going up, you don't have as much margin in your budget as you once did. And so you weren't able to achieve the $5,000 in 6 months. Okay, let's reevaluate and see, one, do we just need to add time to that timeline? Or two, is $5,000 really the number? Or can we feel comfortable with a smaller peace of mind fund? Would we still have peace of mind if we only had $2,500 saved or $3,000 saved? So we get to reevaluate and ask ourselves, are these the right goals? Was the goal for my client to manage certain categories in cash the right goal? Or was it just more important that we manage those categories with the guardrails that we put in place? And so even if we can't do that in cash, we find another avenue to do that. The savings goal of $5,000, is that the right number? Is 6 months the right timeline? Or do these things need to be reevaluated and adjusted? Sometimes we're saving toward a goal that shifts. I'm a big proponent of saving up, this idea of plan now, buy later. And as you're saving up towards a purchase, you may find that over time you don't want the thing you thought you wanted. One of the examples I use is, I think about, I wanted a gaming system a number of years ago. And so my wife and I instituted this idea that I needed to want it for more than 6 months before I actually went out and bought it, so that I wasn't being impulsive. And after 6 months, it turns out I still did want it. And so I did purchase it. But there have been other times when I wanted something or thought I wanted something, time goes by, it's like, oh, I didn't really want that thing as badly as I thought. And on the flip side, there's been times that I have been impulsive and I thought, ooh, I really want this thing. I bought it, and then it sits around and it never gets used. So I like the idea of reevaluating your goals. And if you're saving up towards something, reevaluating if you even really want that thing anymore, or if it's time to reallocate those dollars somewhere else. So when we're doing this money maintenance, and again, regardless of when we're doing it, doesn't have to be January 1st, it doesn't have to be mid-year, it can be at any time. The first thing you're doing is reviewing what's working and what's not. And the second thing you're doing is you're reevaluating to see if these goals are still the right goals. And then number three, you're going to reprioritize. Hey there, budgeteers. It's a brand new year, and that means it's time for new habits, starting with your money. Take charge of your finances in 2025 with New Money Habits Financial Coaching. This isn't your typical financial advice. New Money Habits is all about giving you the knowledge, tools, and support to make confident money moves and build a rock-solid financial foundation. Here's the deal. We're offering a free discovery session to kick off your journey to financial freedom. That's right, no strings attached. In this session, one of our expert coaches will help you to identify your financial goals and create a better plan for your money. We'll help you master your money mindset, sharpen your money management skills, and keep you accountable every step of the way. Make 2025 the year you say goodbye to financial stress and hello to the freedom you've been dreaming about. Schedule your free discovery session today and start creating the new money habits you need to achieve financial freedom. As things change, the priority on certain goals also may change. And so asking yourself, like, what needs my attention? One of the shifts that I've had in my thinking, again, I'll credit my partner, Maria, for helping me to see things differently, is I used to be somebody who the next goal, whatever the next financial goal was, it got 100% of my attention. And so I'd teach my clients to do the same thing. 100% of your attention on the next thing. Let's get that checked off the list. And then we will move our attention onto the next priority. So what Maria has helped me to realize, and what I've now been able to implement with clients, is maybe there are 4 things that we're trying to do financially. Maybe there is something we're saving up toward. Maybe there is some debt we're trying to eliminate. And so maybe we have these competing priorities. Well, I sat down with a client the other day who has a couple of savings goals. There's 4 different things that she wants to do. Each has a different dollar amount assigned to it, a different financial goal, and then they're on different timelines. And so instead of just focusing 100% of her attention on one thing, getting it off the list, and then moving on to the next, we said based off of the overall savings goal and the timeline in which to save, we gave percentages for every extra dollar we have. 50% of it's going to go toward priority number 1, 25% of it's going to go toward priority number 2, 15% of it is going to go toward priority number 3, and 10% is going to go toward priority number 4. And I bring that up to say that's how we established it now. But as you're reprioritizing, you may realize as time goes on, okay, based off of the overall goal and the timeline, let's shift some of those percentages. In fact, when we sat down to do the percentages, my client came to me with a few percentages. And as we looked at the timeline, the amount she wants to save towards something, the amount she has already saved toward some of those goals, we actually kind of shifted and said, hey, instead of 10% to this one and 15% to that one, let's shift those because you're farther along on this goal and have a little bit more time. You're not as far along on this other goal and the timeline's shorter. This will help you to achieve both things. Without some visuals, I can only imagine how confusing that got. But the idea is step number 3 is to reprioritize. What needs your attention next? Re-ranking your goals if needed. So again, I go back to maybe you have competing goals. You're trying to save up your peace of mind fund and achieve a certain dollar amount, but maybe you're also trying to pay off some debt. And so maybe your focus was, I'm going to put 100% of my focus towards hitting this savings goal before I start paying off the debt. And maybe you realize that it doesn't need to be a 50-50 split, but maybe I want to go 80-20 here. 80% is going to go toward the savings goal and 20% is going to go toward paying off debt so that I can start that process earlier. But this 3-step process, again, I want you to be able to do it at any time throughout the year. You're going to review, ask yourself what's working for you, what's not. You're going to reevaluate. Are these the right goals? And you're going to reprioritize and ask yourself what needs to be adjusted based off of what is a priority now that wasn't a priority then, or what is no longer a priority now that was a priority then. And again, checking in on the emotions, I don't want you to feel guilty that you're not where you had hoped to be, that this is more of I'm just going to look at it logically and rationally. This is my money situation. This is what has unfolded. Here's what's working for me. Here's what's not. This goal is no longer the right goal, so I'm going to make these adjustments. Calm, cool, and collected. No fear, no stress, no anxiety, no guilt, no shame. Cool, calm, and collected. And if you need help with that, remember that I offer a free coaching session. So get that scheduled. If you're thinking to yourself, okay, I'm not as cool, calm, and collected as I want to be, so let's get together and I will help you see that your financial situation is not nearly as bad on paper as it is in your head. We always make these things so much worse in our head. Okay, so now I want to wrap things up by talking about having a fresh start mindset. As I've said earlier, you can engage and re-engage with your money at any point. You do not have to wait until January 1st, July 1st, the first day of school, the first this, that, or the other. You don't even have to wait for a Monday. You can do this on a Wednesday. It doesn't matter. Any day can be your new year. January 1st and Mondays are just dates and days on a calendar. Any day you choose to reset your finances is perfect, and it's powerful. I want to encourage you to start setting or resetting or restating goals, but let's stay in the short term. Look 3 months ahead, 90 days. I've done episodes about SMART goals, so I'm not going to go over the acronym SMART right now, but I do want you to set SMART goals, be specific, and make sure it's time bound. So what are you trying to accomplish in the next 90 days? Some examples may be that you want to save X number of dollars toward your peace of mind fund in the next 90 days. Perhaps that's $1,000. Or maybe you want to pay off $1,000 of credit card debt in the next 90 days. Perhaps a more simple is I want to stick to a written budget for the next 3 months. And if you don't already have a tool to do that, then go to our website, newmoneyhabits.com, and download our Payday Power Planner for free. We believe that it is not enough to budget just for the month, but that your month should be broken down by your pay periods so that you have a sense of what is coming in and when, and what is going out and when. So you can actually see the cash flow. When's it coming in? When's it going out? Do I have a surplus or a deficit in this pay period? If I have a deficit, how can I get my way back into a surplus? How do I get the income up or the expenses down? If I already have a surplus, how am I managing that surplus to help me to achieve these other goals? Whether that's a savings goal, a debt elimination goal, whatever that financial goal might be, how is that my surplus being used to help me achieve that goal? But again, you do not have to do this alone. You don't have to do it alone. I offer a free session. Go ahead and schedule that. If you're not ready for that, if you're not ready to sit down with me one-on-one, that's okay. Visit us on Patreon. Become a free member. Join the conversations that are happening over there. Perhaps you look at one of the membership tiers and think to yourself, okay, I do need a little bit more accountability and I do need additional resources. We have memberships that start as little as $5 a month. So join us on Patreon. Be around like-minded people. Insert yourself into a community that have similar goals so that it can help you to achieve the goals that you have. And if you want that one-on-one attention, schedule your call with me today. So I want you to reflect and maybe even share. Go to Patreon, join the conversation. Let us know what's one financial win you've had so far this year, and what's one goal that you are resetting and starting today. Again, come join us on Patreon, join the conversation, check out the tiers. We have more than a dozen coaches who are contributing content to our Patreon with expertise everywhere from student loans to taxes and everything else in between. Real estate, retirement, you name it, we've got it. Come check it out over on Patreon. And remember, any day is a good day to re-engage with your finances, to review them, to reevaluate, and to reprioritize. That does it for this episode of the New Money Habits Podcast. Remember, if you have any questions, make sure to hit us up on social at New Money Habits and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Please consider leaving a 5-star rating and review to help us spread this message of hope to people looking for a better plan for their money.